Hello, everyone. It's TESOL Macedonia-thrace, Northern Greece, and here I am in good company with Professor Sifakis, a man who speaks and I learn, or rather, I should say, writes and I learn, because I've been studying his research for years and years. Now we will have the pleasure of listening to his plenary at the two-day conference TESOL Greece is co-organizing with ETAL, the Larissa Teachers Association, and TESOL Greece. Here we are with Dr. Vicky Papachristou, our vice chair, who is going to be interviewing Professor Sifakis. Professor Sifakis, a very big thanks from the bottom of my heart for your time today and for your generosity to be our plenary speaker once again. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you very much. The pleasure and the honor is all mine, believe me. I'm really happy to be presenting at this wonderful event. Thank you very much.
Dr. Papachristou, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So a warm welcome and thank you on my part, Dr. Sifakis.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for this interview and for supporting our Teachers Association by accepting our invitation once again as a plenary speaker at the conference. And since we are on this topic, what is your opinion on teachers' associations in Greece in general?
I believe that the work that is being done by the teachers' associations in Greece is enormous, is really important. TESOL Greece, TESOL Macedonia-thrace, Northern Greece, and of course ETAL, and other smaller perhaps associations are really very important in what they do, in supporting teachers, in prompting a spirit of community among teachers, in promoting interaction and communication through the exchange, for example, of action research projects, small or large. All teachers who participate in the events that are carried out by your associations really, they promote their own, what they do, their own work. And this is really important. And let's not forget, I would just like to add that the flagship of applied linguistics and English language teaching research, as we know, is a journal that is run by a TESOL association, TESOL Quarterly. So what teachers do is really, really important. So I wholeheartedly support the initiative to bring together the two largest ESOL associations in Greece with another major teacher association, ETAL, in this two-day event. And I really look forward to participating in it and to meeting the other participants and attending their talks.
So thank you very much. And since we are referring to the conference, can you please tell us a few things about your presentation and what has inspired you to present such a topic?
Well, I will leave the important things for the presentation, for the actual presentation. The title of the presentation is The Miracle and Perils of Group Work, and the links between group work and differentiated instruction. Basically, I'm going to be presenting a slightly different description and orientation of group work. Hopefully, it will be meaningful for participants. Not hugely different, but I will try to analyze why it's important to look at the psychological and other kinds of makeup of groups. Teachers work with groups. What they do is brought to life through group work. Group work and pair work is embedded in virtually every course book, and we are very familiar with carrying out group work and so on. But it seems to me, and this is what research says, that we can do much more with groups, and we can really bring learning to life with groups. And so I'm going to be talking about groups, how they work, how they operate, what makes them tick, and what can really help members of groups learn better and quicker. And I'm going to be linking it with the notion of differentiated instruction, which is a whole other kind of area that is really important, and people have been talking about it for at least the past 10 years, and I've been talking about it. So hopefully it's going to be an interesting talk.
I'm sure it's going to be a very interesting presentation. And since we're talking about differentiated instruction, I was curious, why would a teacher of English, or any teacher actually, use differentiated instruction in their teaching? What are any possible benefits, and how does it facilitate language learning?
The major benefits of differentiated instruction is learner-centeredness. Learner-centeredness in practice implies that we, as teachers, first get to learn our learners, who they are, how they learn, what makes them more effective. Now, the thing is that nowadays, language learning, and especially English language learning, can take place everywhere. There are many opportunities for incidental or informal learning. Our learners of every age, virtually from a very young age, they use English while gaming online, for example, without even realizing it. They watch YouTube videos, and without realizing it, they are exposed to English. So they learn. Exposure is essentially learning the language. And I have first-hand experience of this and many examples from my own kids when they were younger. It's amazing how fast kids learn through these incidental experiences. So we have to ask ourselves, what exactly are we offering as teachers, as practitioners who work in formal educational settings, apart, of course, from preparing our learners to sit a high-stakes exam, which is very important. There are other things that we can also teach our learners. For example, we can teach them how to learn to work with other learners, how to enjoy group work, which is a lifelong skill. And there are other lifelong skills, for example, the love of learning new languages, learning how to learn, how to develop as a citizen, as a human being, throughout our lives. And we can do this by offering our learners opportunities for developing these other so-called transversal skills. And these are skills that are shared across the curriculum and will be very useful for the future lives of every citizen. For example, creativity, problem solving, critical thinking, leadership, apart from communication and collaboration, adaptability, and so on. So these are things that we can focus on while we teach English, and these would be extremely useful for our learners in their future lives, apart from, of course, teaching the language.
Thank you. And what about the Greek educational context? Do you think that the principles of differentiated instruction are applied in teaching English in Greece, either in the formal context or the, let's say, informal context?
Yes. Well, the Greek educational system has a very long way to go. But this is not surprising. I believe that the same applies to virtually all educational systems around the world. Most formal state educational systems are organized along the same ways, even the more advanced ones, the so-called advanced ones. What's important is teacher self-development. The state doesn't do enough, it will never do enough to support teachers. So I really believe in associations like TESOL Greece and TESOL Macedonia-thrace, Northern Greece, because they facilitate and they prompt self-development of teachers. And this goes beyond the basic university studies if teachers have these studies. So we should offer more opportunities for training, especially in areas that are not typically covered in training seminars. For example, my talk will draw from the area of educational psychology, which is really important. So these are the things that should be looked at by teachers. The state is there, it will do what it can, but we should do more, and thanks to associations like yours, more is already being done, and teachers should reach out to these associations in the same way that associations reach out to teachers, so that self-development can be promoted.
That is true. Thank you. So our final question, which is very topical, let's say. With the outbreak of COVID-19, the pandemic, online teaching became a norm, as we all know, and it is still widely used. Can differentiated instruction be used in online teaching?
Yes. Wow, that's the million-dollar question. Well, first of all, online teaching, we can now safely say, has many problems. It offers extremely useful opportunities, but essentially it offers opportunities for communication, the communicating when people are physically separated. Teaching is a very tall order, as we know. In order to work, in order for teaching to work, teachers need to constantly make sure that learners are engaged, and that's the problem with online teaching. This is hard to do in face-to-face mode, let alone the distance mode. So differentiated instruction is demanding, as we know, but in the worst case scenarios of online teaching, there are still possibilities. Of course, online teaching offers many opportunities. People can communicate, they can get in touch from wherever they are. These opportunities, for example, we can use the flipped classroom model appropriately in ways that engage our learners and help them prepare on their own at home, and also by asking them to collaborate with other learners when at home. So the flipped model has many different possibilities. Group work can actually take place when the learners are at home and prepare for the following face-to-face meeting. So the face-to-face meeting can focus on the online face-to-face meetings can focus on carrying out essential group work. This demands a lot of preparation from the teacher, and it is far more demanding in the online mode when groups are engaged in the breakout rooms, for example, because teachers need to constantly move from one group to another to observe what is going on and to constantly keep notes and be aware of everything that is going on, because this is differentiated instruction and the teachers have to know exactly who does what and the learner's progress. That is why it is often better when teachers can work jointly, and we've tried this. We tried it once actually at the University of Athens in the undergraduate program. Tried joint teaching, team teaching or twin teaching when online, because then you can divide the tasks, and different teachers, the two different teachers can share the teaching tasks, observing, making notes, facilitating, working with students, and so on.
That is very interesting. So thank you so much for your answers, for your insights, and we're all looking forward to attending your presentation and, as Maria said, learn from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here with us this morning, and thank you for accepting our invitation to be our plenary speaker.
Thank you for the invitation.